Lee Yunhyn desperately wanted to give her very first time to her returning first love. To make that happen on our wedding night, she literally struck me in the head herself. She stood right there in the shadows, her tone coming off as terrifyingly absolute. She claimed she had to fulfill this completely absurd teenage vow, giving her first time to that returning first love of hers. When I finally woke up from that intense pain, my shaking fingers managed to dial a video call. It rang for quite a while before the screen actually lit up. Turn T Fong showed up right there on the camera. He laughs, saying the groom woke up at a pretty good time. This guy is the first lovely Yunhyn obsessed over for years. Turn T Fong looks totally disheveled, flashing this incredibly arrogant smirk while boasting about how great the new bride tasted. He claims they stayed up talking all night long, having an absolutely wonderful time together. The guy is basically showing off a trophy he just snatched away. In that exact moment, the very last bit of warmth in my heart completely vanished. I, Elsie Min-do, am totally done with a woman this rotten to the core. My voice comes out as cold as crushed ice. Tell Lee Yunhyn to answer the phone. Even though my heart is beating frantically in overdrive, I force myself to somehow find my reason again. Turn T Fong completely ignores me. Instead, he holds up the phone and pans the camera around like he is patrolling his own territory. Being alone in an empty room on your wedding night must feel pretty terrible, right? He says YNYN put in 120% effort last night. That kind of wild enthusiasm is something a guy really never forgets. The whole room spins around me, and my ears are completely ringing. All that eager effort. I think back to her treating this massive sacrifice like it was nothing. Right before I passed out. If I still could not understand what he meant by that, I would be an absolute fool. I clench my fist so tightly that my nails dig right into my palms. My throat feels perfectly sealed with cement, totally unable to utter a single word. Seeing me stay totally quiet, Turn T Fong just gets even more smug. The camera suddenly shakes. He tells me to come admire the absolute battlefield they made last night. The camera shows the hotel apartment living room looking like a completely trashed mess. That incredibly expensive silk outfit and the wedding dress she wore are torn to shreds, just scattered randomly across the floor. And that glaring red mark left on the massive bed hits me like a heavy hammer, completely shattering my pride into pieces. I brace myself to keep the tears from falling, letting out a hoarse growl as I tell her to get out here. Turn T Fong lets out this totally fake, pitying sigh, though his eyes are just overflowing with pure provocation. He says YNYN is completely exhausted, soaking in the bathtub right now to relax. The moment he finishes, the video picks up that gentle voice I have heard for 7 whole years. She asks T Fong to help rub some lotion on her back. Hearing that exact sound practically nails me right to a pillar of absolute humiliation. I gasp for air like a fish completely out of oxygen, my heart hurting so much it almost bursts. Turn T Fong throws back this incredibly smug, victorious glare. He tells YNYN not to rush if she wants a couple's bath. Just say the word and he is right there. Then he just hangs up the video. Now, I want you to picture this absolute nightmare. Every ounce of my strength drains away instantly as I slump onto the freezing tiles, totally swallowed by pure rage and sorrow. I have no idea how much time passes before I stumble to my feet, frantically smashing up the bridal room I had personally decorated. I absolutely stomp that giant, mocking wedding photo right into tiny pieces. Then I shred the bright red wedding blankets and toss them straight into the trash. I call the maids over, strictly ordering them to clear out absolutely every single thing that still carries the scent of that awful woman. After that, I snap a few pictures of the empty house and post it online for a really cheap, urgent sale. A dirty house can easily be swapped out, but someone with a filthy heart just makes you totally sick at a single glance. Curling up on the sofa, I just let the heavy waves of disgust wash over me. 7 whole years of giving my absolute everything. Turns out, next to that vow, it was not worth a penny. I remember how every time I wanted to take things further, she always made excuses, claiming she wanted to save the best for our wedding night. I actually used to take pride in that, thinking she really respected herself. Now I realize she just wanted to save her offering for the true God in her heart, leaving me as the absolute fool who built the altar. Because of her, I completely ignored the Elsie family business, hiding away in a lab just to help her research those cosmetic formulas. I worked desperately hard, pushing a tiny workshop right to the verge of a public listing. That formula I struggled so much to create became the very wings letting her fly high. But she actually used those wings to drag me down into this deep abyss of betrayal. Since Lee Yunhyn dared to do this, she cannot blame me, Elsie Min-do, for being absolutely ruthless. I will completely destroy everything. Watch closely now. The ultimate revenge kicks off at today's post-wedding banquet, right in front of every single relative. I plan to hand the Li Yu family the most unforgettable post-wedding gift right in front of everyone. Just as I am plotting this out, the electronic door lock suddenly beeps open. Li Yu Nhin is finally home. She walks with a slightly weird gait, yet somehow totally fails to notice anything unusual around the house. She walks right up to me, putting on this totally humble, flattering act. She calls me hubby, claiming her greatest wish is finally fulfilled. She suggests we go register our marriage this afternoon, promising that from now on she will definitely settle down and live quietly with me. I just let out a truly cold laugh. Before the wedding, she stood me up 10 different times when we were supposed to register. Every single little issue with Turn T Fong was always enough for her to completely abandon me. Looking at her current state now, I honestly just feel my stomach completely turning over, but I hold back from exposing her, simply standing up with a cold look. Let's go. The banquet starts at 9:30. Don't be late. Have you finally forgiven me? Her eyes actually light up with this unbelievable joy, totally mistaking my complete silence for some kind of gentle forgiveness. I keep my face totally blank, refusing to even look. On the way to the hotel, I keep my eyes shut, completely ignoring all of Li Yunhyn's awkward attempts to chat. She definitely senses the coldness. Every single time she tries to grab my hand, I dodge her with total disgust. At the dressing room, she pulls on my sleeve. Honey, we are here, she says, fully expecting me to change into the formal suit she supposedly prepared for me. I just brush her hand right off and walk straight into the main venue. Change clothes? Absolutely ridiculous. Those two traditional wedding outfits? I literally knelt outside a master tailor's door for half a year just to get them. Then I hand-stitched the dragon and phoenix patterns myself. Every single golden stitch pierced right through my own fingertips. I genuinely used to think all of that pain was the absolute highest form of devotion, but now, it just looks like pure delusion. Pushing open those heavy banquet doors, my gaze instantly freezes over like solid ice. Turn T Fong is wearing my gold-threaded dragon suit, strutting through the crowd, looking all high and mighty. Li Yunhyn's parents are awkwardly trying to stop him, clearly realizing how incredibly out of line this whole situation is. When Turn T Fong sees me enter, his smirk turns incredibly arrogant. He casually says YN already told him this suit looks way better on him, so LC Min Du can just easily throw on something else. Mother Li Yu looks totally uncomfortable, but with all the relatives watching, she clearly does not want a huge scene. Mother and Father Li Yu know their place and treat me decently enough, but against the massive pride of the LC family, that tiny bit of goodwill cannot stop the incoming storm at all. I walk right up to Turn T Fong, my voice carrying zero warmth, telling him to take it off. He just shrugs, his eyes totally mocking me. He says YN thinks he looks great, and if I am not happy with that, I can wait for her to come out so we can argue. He probably thinks a guy like me will never escape Li Yunhyn's grip for the rest of my entire life. I turn around, walk straight over to the liquor table, grab a microphone, and scan the entire room. Elders, family members, and friends, please give me your attention for just a very brief moment. I tried speaking politely with him, but this Mr. Turn right here decided to use my personal items as some kind of fancy trophy to show off to the crowd. Let me ask everyone sitting here today, if the formal outfit you poured your heart into was suddenly stolen by some completely unrelated outsider on an occasion like this, could you actually swallow that kind of anger? The Li Yu relatives are pretty blunt people, so almost instantly, somebody yells out into the quiet room. They shout out that stealing someone else's prized possession is totally uneducated behavior, and if it were them, they would absolutely tear that guy apart without a second thought. Surrounded by the crowd's rising anger, that smug little look on Turn T Fong's face completely freezes up. Now watch this. He never expected me to spark this fight, and he definitely did not expect me to expose his entire mess right in front of the whole world. Li Yunhyn values her reputation above everything, and right now, my only goal is to completely tear that reputation to pieces. I casually grab a heavy, unopened wine bottle and, right in the middle of everyone's shock screams, I smash it forcefully onto Turn T Fong's head. Pure satisfaction. The sound of the shattering glass echoes alongside his miserable scream, as bright crimson liquid splatters all over the place, instantly staining that beautiful gold-threaded dragon suit a very deep red. The scene goes completely silent for 3 seconds. I do not care even a little bit about Turn T Fong groaning on the floor. and I completely ignore mother and father Li Yu staring in absolute shock. Walking straight toward the backstage control booth, I turn down the background track, push the microphone volume to the absolute maximum level, and sweep my gaze across the totally chaotic crowd of guests. Nobody leave just yet. The real show is only getting started. Inside the banquet hall, people are scrambling in confusion, but every single pair of eyes locks right onto the control booth. They are waiting for me to rip the cover off this ridiculous marriage. LC Min-do, are you going to stop this right now? An incredibly sharp, furious scream suddenly cuts right through the heavy silence. Li Yunhyin does not even bother checking on Turn Tifeng's severe injuries. Striding fiercely right toward me, with absolute, furious fire burning in her eyes. She yells that it is just one single piece of clothing. She says to take my anger out on her, demanding to know what gives me the right to hit someone. She then orders me to apologize to Tifeng right this very second. If he calls the cops, you are definitely getting charged with intentional assault. Do you genuinely want to end up sitting inside a prison cell? The moment those words leave her mouth, the surrounding air basically freezes solid. The guests sitting nearby just stare at each other, their eyes completely filled with unbelievable shock. Her own husband gets his formal wedding suit stolen in public, right during the ceremony. Can you believe this? As a wife, she feels zero shame, and instead turns the gun on her own man, forcing him to bow down to the actual provoker. This is not a newlywed couple at all. It honestly looks like bitter enemies crossing paths. Li Yunhyin clearly notices the whispering from the crowd, her face turning pale and then green. But that fiercely protective stance over Turn Tifeng does not weaken even a single bit. Apologize? I ask Li Yunhyin if she seriously still views me as that pathetic coward who would never fight back like before. I grip the microphone, scoffing coldly. That laugh echoes through the empty feeling hall, sounding incredibly sarcastic. Open your eyes wide and take a good look at what he is wearing on his body. That is the groom's personal outfit. If an outsider steals it and gets heavily beaten, go ask the world which police force would actually dare to cross the LC family over this kind of completely shameless trash. I remind them that LC Min-do lack things, but medical money is not one. At worst, I will pay him double. I shift my tone, my cold gaze stabbing like a dagger into Turn Tifeng cowering heavily on the floor. My voice is bone-chillingly cold. If he actually ends up with some permanent damage, do not worry. The Luke family owns more than enough private nursing homes under our name. I guarantee I will take him in, hire specialists to serve him closely, and make absolutely sure he never steps out of those doors until the day he kicks the bucket. I grip my teeth hard on the word serve. Lu Nu-yen goes completely rigid, a flash of genuine terror finally appearing deep in her eyes. This is the very first time she realizes that the same Luke Min-do who used to bend to her every whim could be this unbelievably terrifying. Tran Tu-feng is even more terrified, practically turning to jelly. He knows exactly what a private nursing home of the Luke family really means. In that place, he lives exactly how I decide he lives. At this point, the relative sitting below just cannot watch anymore and start speaking up. Yen, your second great uncle has to say something. Fair. What you did here is completely absurd. Stealing the wedding items of someone else back in the day would get you severely beaten. Exactly right. Your parents were just advising him until their throats went sore. But this kid stubbornly argued back. Truly an uneducated brat. Min-do smashing that wine bottle was excellent. Surrounded by all this harsh criticism, Lu Nu-yen is completely speechless. Her mother holds back tears, trying to maintain order, quickly dialing for an ambulance. She wants to kick this god of plague out to save the crumbling family banquet. But she has no idea that from the very second I step through these doors, there is no such thing as a future for us anymore. Elders, please keep quiet for a moment. I raise my volume, dropping a completely earth-shattering piece of news. Actually, Lu Nu-yen and I never even legally registered our marriage in the first place. You guys can just treat this entire wedding as some incredibly absurd, hilarious comedy show. What? The sudden uproar is so loud it practically blows the roof off. Lu Nu-yen looks like she got struck by lightning, frozen dead in her tracks, staring at me as I try to calm both families. We lied before, saying we got the certificate a long time ago. Without that exact lie, my father, who looks down on almost everyone, would absolutely never have allowed it. Allowed me to marry someone with such an ordinary background like hers. But I am genuinely lucky. Lucky because being stood up 10 times before is exactly what helps me walk away so cleanly and decisively. Right now, I am going to take back absolutely every single thing. The reputation, the wealth, and the power that I personally handed over to her. Every single bit of it. Calling out my name, Lu Nu Yen, is finally scared. She grabs her dress and stumbles right in front of me, grabbing my arm so hard, her nails almost dig straight into my flesh. I am begging you, whatever it is, we can talk about it at home. I am so sorry, I should not have let him touch your clothes. Please just stop talking. Her tears are flowing out now, the desperate plea of someone completely backed into a corner. I shake her hand off, actually feeling a wave of disgust where she just touched me. Go home? There is no home left for us anymore. Do not even dream of stepping foot through the Luke family doors ever again. I turn back to the audience to keep ripping open this filthy secret. Now pay close attention to this next reveal. Our so-called marriage is nothing but a total scam. From the wedding prep until last night, she was always tangled up with Tran Tufang. Things between us are incredibly pure. We barely even held hands a few times. Because Luke Min Do. Shut your mouth right this second. Lu Nu Yen screams with a totally twisted face. That is pure madness, like someone who just got their tail stepped on. But I have zero intention of leaving her with any dignity. Her father tries to step up and make peace, but Lu Nu Yen angrily scolds him. She lashes out so harshly that the old man shakes with pure anger. I shake my head, directly connecting my phone right to the big screen. If she will not let me speak, then everyone, please watch for yourselves. The screen flickers, and the surveillance video starts playing. Min Do, I have to save my first time for Tufang. I hate it so much. That medicine gives me such a massive headache. We can live properly later. Just let me finish your wedding night with him first. Those totally disgraceful sounds and images, boosted by the absolute best sound equipment in the province, are so incredibly clear, it makes people want to throw up. Over in the guest seats, mothers quickly cover the ears of their children, while the men just click their tongues. The head of the Lu clan gets so furious that he slams the table and jumps up. Lu Nu Yen, you really threw our Lu family reputation straight into the gutter. Does this kind of morally corrupt trash really deserve to be called outstanding? She is exactly like a modern-day traitor. Amidst the overwhelming curses, Lu Nu Yen tries to rush up and grab the phone, but I casually kick her straight down to the ground. Stepping off stage, I look at her parents, who seem to have aged 10 years, and bow deeply. Uncle and aunt, I am sorry for using this kind of method to end things. You two treated me really well over the years, and I appreciate that kindness. But I will never forgive Lu Nu Yen for the rest of my life. I do not even glance back at her sitting on the floor like a lunatic, walking straight to the main door, passing right by Tran Tufang. I stop in my tracks and whisper in his ear, that wine bottle from earlier was really just a small appetizer. Enjoy your very last bit of free time, because on the long road ahead, I'm going to make you completely wish you were gone. The pupils of Tran Tufang shrink in pure terror, unable to even let out a single plea for mercy. From behind, the crisp sound of a slap echoes, along with her father bitterly scolding her. But I have already stepped out into the sunlight. I pull out my phone and call the family butler. First, cut all tech support and materials to the Li Yu family company. Second, expose Li Yu Nhyn and turn Tufang's dirty scandal to the entire industry. I want them completely ruined in this circle. And third, tear down that bridal suite tomorrow. Hanging up the phone, I take a deep breath of fresh air. Li Yu Nhyn actually thought she'd climbed to the top. Completely unaware she just threw away her biggest protection. And her nightmare is only just beginning. Walking through the front door, I see my parents sitting right there on the sofa. Seeing me return alone, the two elders instinctively look behind me. They are clearly still waiting for that daughter-in-law, the one I just brutally kicked out of the picture. Seeing that hope in their eyes, my heart suddenly tightens. Back then, I stubbornly swore I would only marry Li Yu Nhyn. I fought with my dad for her, even pulling a massive lie about registering our marriage. Now I'm the one ripping it all apart. After all, that ridiculous drama at the banquet cannot be hidden. Half a day from now, the whole city will know. I do not even hesitate. Right in front of my stunned parents, I drop straight to my knees. I tell them absolutely everything. The dirty affair between Li Yu Nhyn and Tran Tufang, the insane wedding night drama, and the ruthless payback I just unleashed at the banquet hall. The living room falls into a dead silence. I lower my head, fully bracing myself for an absolute storm of anger. But time passes, and the expected yelling never comes. I look up in total confusion, only to see my father calmly sipping tea. Not a single drop of anger in his eyes. Instead, there is this quiet comfort, like his son has finally grown up. Get up, he says. My father sets his teacup down, completely calm. We accept your apology. Since you finally see their true colors, cut them off completely. Can you handle the company and public fallout cleanly? My eyes harden. I am already on it. I will make that guy regret ever being born. My father nods, saying nothing more as he heads into his study. A moment later, he walks out and hands me a thick, clear folder. Pay attention here. This is T from the neighboring province. Despite her young age, she runs a massive biotech company. Both her character and ruthless tactics are 100 times better than Lee Yunhyn. Take a look. I glance down at the photo. It is an aggressive, cold, and undeniably fierce kind of beauty. She looks vaguely familiar. We probably crossed paths at some high-end business banquet. I will leave it to you. Honestly, I have zero interest in marriage right now. But just to give my parents some peace of mind, I have to play along. My dad immediately makes a call. 3 minutes later, he returns. Miss T is buried in a new project, zero free time. But she will be attending the youth business gala in 3 days. You two can meet there. A total workaholic. That is my first impression of her. But honestly, talking pure business is always way safer than talking feelings. I sleep like a rock that night. I finally wake up around noon, feeling a deep peace I have missed for so long. For the past year, ever since that lingering ghost of a man turned T Fong returned to the country, my entire world has been crumbling. Now, here's the absolute worst part. Lee Yunhyn used catching up as an excuse to cross boundaries, even ditching our marriage registration 10 times to run his errands. Whenever I tried to talk, she would bite back, calling me toxic and paranoid. Whenever I tried to leave, she would use that pitiful, gentle act to trap me again. Looking back, it was just a sick game. She loved the pure ego trip of having two desperate guys fighting over her. And I was just her stepping stone. Heading downstairs after washing up, I see a warm bowl of noodles my mom left for me. Real warmth, finally. Family is always the absolute best. Wasting emotions on that outsider was pathetic. Right now, I'm planning exactly how to absolutely crush Lee Yunhyn. Right on cue, her phone call comes in, buzzing on the dining table like crazy. I hit speakerphone, letting her screams echo. LC Min-do, are you insane? On what grounds did you send lawyers to force this share buyout? Are you really burning this bridge now? And that bridal suite? We picked it together. How dare you sell it without my permission? Do you even care about me anymore? Hearing these desperate questions, I just find it hilarious. Director Lee Yu. Face reality. The property deed is entirely in my name. Who I sell it to, or for how much has nothing to do with you. As for buying back the shares, I was saving your face. If you refuse to sign, I will sell every single share to your biggest rival tomorrow. Lee Yunhyn chokes on her fury. After a long pause, her voice softens, purely calculating. Min-do, all our partners are canceling their contracts today. The company is a total mess. You know them best. Could you please come back and help me fix this? I was so furious, I actually burst out laughing. I'm not her VP anymore. Absolutely zero obligation to clean up her messy battlefield. But you're still a shareholder. Lee Yunhyn hisses, grinding her teeth. Plus, I just found out human resources and the key department heads are actually all loyal to the LC family. Min-do, you're incredibly sinister. Turns out you planted spies around me from the very start. So sneaky. I fire back. If I hadn't brought in elite staff from the LC family to forcefully take over back, then you'd be relying on those absolute bootlickers she hired herself? The entire company would have gone totally bankrupt 3 whole years ago. My dad almost disowned me completely over that absolute mess. Why the sudden silence? Conscience finally kicking in? She just scoffs coldly. I'm seriously warning you. Stabilize the situation right now, or I will absolutely fire every single one of your cronies. Right on cue, her secretary's incredibly panicked, screaming voice echoes right through the phone. Boss, all the department heads just threw their resignation letters on the desk. They're crowding the main gates demanding their final pay. Hearing that, I just burst out laughing. Min-do, you really played dirty, she snaps. The master leaves and the dogs follow. Absolutely zero sense of responsibility. Watch how his tone flips right here. He tells her to watch her mouth, his voice freezing cold. They are industry elites, not anyone's house. Slaves. Without them, you really think your pitiful taste could ever hold up an entire cosmetics empire all on its own? Take a good look at your financial reports. They built that success with their own blood, sweat, and tears. And as for them quitting, that is completely their own choice. After all, nobody wants to break their back working for a backstabbing boss. Without even waiting for her to process that, I dropped the final ultimatum. 3 days. I'm giving you exactly 3 days to buy back my shares. Miss this window, prepare for total bankruptcy. Wait. The voice of Lee Yunhyn suddenly turned sickeningly sweet, just like when she used to beg for forgiveness. Min-do, I was just completely confused on our wedding night. Can we please just meet and talk? I'll even personally cook for Nope. I aggressively cut her off, my furious voice practically echoing off the ceiling. When I actively tried to talk to you, you were literally in the bed of Turn T Fong. And now, you suddenly want to chat? Have some basic dignity. Lee Yunhyn. Oh, and that 5 million bride price my family gave you? I want you to cough it up immediately. Every single penny. Deal directly with my lawyer. From now on, don't ever let me hear your voice again. I brutally hang up on her, instantly blocking every single one of her contacts with my other hand. 5 million. I'd rather throw it all in the ocean to hear the splash than leave 1 cent for those cheating scumbags. That 3-day deadline? My absolute final act of mercy for her. Because in exactly 3 days, the secret background check on Turn T Fong will finally wrap up. That massive loan I backed, paired with the complete share transfer, it'll be the final straw that crushes Lee Yunhyn completely. Betrayal always has a heavy price. I want them plunging straight into the abyss, never coming back. Right at the peak of their little romance. Blink, and those 3 days are gone. It's already the youth business banquet day, and I'm flipping through documents while eating breakfast. Gotta say, Turn T Fong's life abroad and all his shady little stunts since coming back, it's all genuinely pretty colorful stuff, honestly. Meanwhile, Lee Yunhyn has been acting like a total lunatic, using random numbers to frantically call me, constantly begging to meet up and work things out. Starting the day before yesterday, when the vast majority of her key department heads suddenly bailed, plus a ton of directors who originally signed out of pure respect for me, canceling their contracts one by one. Now, Lee Yunhyn is truly panicking. No matter how hard she struggles, it's completely beyond saving. Any new partners she approaches treat her like a literal plague and stay entirely away. Anyone with eyes can clearly see I'm targeting her now. Who's gonna risk their entire bright future for some tiny short-term profit in the present? Honestly, having my peaceful little break constantly ruined by her was getting kind of annoying. So I had my lawyer send a very strict warning letter directly. You can guess exactly where this is going. One more text, and I sell all my shares straight to her biggest rival. That finally forces Lee Yunhyn to behave, biting the bullet and coughing up the cash to buy back my shares entirely. Checking the time, it's almost the hour to grab a greeting gift for the blind date before the banquet. Nothing crazy expensive, but showing up completely empty-handed for a first meeting just feels wrong. Gotta show proper respect. After all, arriving at the banquet, I look around. I'm actually quite impressed. The brainpower in this room is exceptionally high. Invites aren't just about family money. They look at real talent and influence in the young business circle to decide who attends. Thanks to my family's backing, I made the exclusive list too, successfully shaking off the basic rich kid label to stand proudly as a top-tier young entrepreneur in the room. I scan the crowd. Lots of people here, but still no sign of TVN anywhere. We'd agreed to chat privately before the whole banquet officially kicked off. I look down, pull up her number, and hit call. It connects incredibly fast, and this wonderfully clear, pleasant voice comes right through the phone speaker. It's not my first time hearing it, but it still puts me right at ease. Min-do, I'm so sorry, got a bit stuck in traffic coming off the highway. I'll be right there. No worries, I tell her. Just got here myself. I hang up the phone. Just me, wearing a navy blue suit, holding a small bag. I run into some old acquaintances. Pure boredom, so I stay to chat. News of the return banquet incident has already spread out, but they kindly avoid bringing it up, just offering a few subtle words of comfort. Over the years, plenty of people have clearly seen exactly how much this young master of the Luke family sacrificed for Lu Nuyen. Right in the middle of our pleasant chat, a painfully familiar voice rings out. A voice I absolutely do not want to hear. Luke Min-do, what are you doing here? Lu Nuyen walks into the party, arm in arm with Tran Tu Fong, spots me, and marches straight over, completely ignoring the clear annoyance from me and my friends. In formal parties like this, just barging in and interrupting someone else's conversation is an incredibly rude thing to do. She really has not improved at all. Zero tact. I don't even answer. Just pull out my invitation for her to glance at, planning to lead my friends somewhere else to talk. I also have a few business ideas I want to run by them, to see if they might be interested in teaming up. My Luke family originally built its foundation on manufacturing, even though we have kept up with the times. Carrying such a massive long-term legacy has really slowed us down. Lately, we start strong, but fade out fast. We fail to match the market's pace, so we just end up stuck in one place. For a massive enterprise like ours, staying stagnant like this is basically a slow decline. So these days, I'm actively researching sustainable business models. I'm rushing to build up a brand new industry before the Luke family goes downhill, creating a solid safety net so our businesses can support each other in the future. But I only make it 2 steps before Lu Nuyen stubbornly pulls me back. I furrow my brows a bit. CEO Lu, isn't acting like this a little bit too disrespectful? Lu Nuyen quickly realizes she crossed a line and immediately lets go, insisting that she just wants to talk to me and means no harm. I reject her flat out. Our Luke family has absolutely no business in the cosmetics industry, so I have nothing to discuss with you. Seeing Lu Nuyen completely stunned by my cold words, Tran Tu Fong steps in to help her out, telling me not to be so harsh, and that real partnerships always require an open discussion first. He says, I won't know unless we talk. He claims Yen Yen has been losing a ton of sleep over me lately, constantly bringing up my name. Now watch this moment carefully. When he drops that last sentence, I easily catch the flash of toxic resentment shining in his eyes. Looks like his little plan to live off a wealthy woman isn't going so smoothly. Oh, is that right? I give a mocking laugh, purposely shifting my gaze straight up to his still healing forehead. Is that head feeling better? Do you need me to check it for you again? Hearing that, Tran Tu Fong instinctively backs away. He is clearly terrified I might smash another wine bottle over him. Meanwhile, Lu Nuyen acts exactly like a mother hen protecting her chick, shielding him behind her back, complaining that he already knows his mistake, and I really should just let it go. Am I the one holding a grudge? Or are you two just lingering around like ghosts that refuse to leave? Lu Nuyen. My expression turns freezing cold. I tell her if she wants a partnership, she needs to act professionally and stop dragging these useless personal matters to me. I simply have no time at all. Not for her. Nonsense. Hearing this, her face turns pale and then red. She finally just lets out a cold scoff, dragging Tran Tu Fong away to find some other connections to build their business. Right as I am about to resume talking with my friends, Tu Van finally arrives. My friends are pretty tactful. They signal that we can discuss the business details later and quickly slip away, leaving a private space for just Tu Van and me. She apologizes sincerely for making me wait so long. Seeing Tu Van looking so incredibly guilty, I offer a warm smile. I tell her it is perfectly fine, since I had business to discuss with them anyway. She asks if I really don't remember her at all. I stare at Tu Van for a long while. Honestly, nothing comes to mind. Where exactly did we know each other from? Seeing my confused expression, the smile on her face fades into a brief look of disappointment. She insists we have met before, and that I even saved her. I feel even more bewildered by that. Saved her? She gives a firm nod. The day of college graduation, at the campus snack street. Does that ring a bell? Hearing those key details, a few old memories suddenly flash back into my mind. Here is where the pieces finally click together. On the day of my college farewell party, after drinking with my roommates, I rushed out to pick up Lu Nuyen. It was getting pretty late. As I passed by a narrow alley, I saw a bunch of drunk thugs surrounding and harassing 2 young girls. Are you the girl those thugs trapped in the alley that time? I ask her, still feeling just a little bit unsure about the whole thing. Yes. A bright look of joy instantly appears on Tu Van's face. She says that night, after I dealt with those punks, I hurried away. She had to go back to campus and ask around everywhere just to find out I was her senior. But by then, I had already graduated and gone home. She simply never got the chance to formally thank me for it. Luke Min Do, thank you for saving me back then. Otherwise, my roommate and I would have been in serious trouble. I don't think much of it, just waving it off. No big deal. I just stepped up when something felt wrong. Most people eating around that area were either rough crowds or fellow students, so I couldn't just walk away. No, you were the only one brave enough to step in. Tu Van says this with pure seriousness. She tells me, if she hadn't gone abroad for an exchange program right after, she would have found me to say thank you much sooner. A good guy. Another nice guy card for me, quietly joked to myself. But as we keep talking, I actually find out something pretty crazy about my old wedding with Lu Nuyen. Back then, my relatives mentioned this stunningly beautiful woman who dropped off a gift. She refused to give her name, just leaving a sweet smile and a simple thank you message, addressed right to Luke Min Do before rushing off. Turns out, that mystery guest was actually Tu Van herself. The air instantly gets a little awkward, and I totally freeze up, not knowing how to keep this conversation going. If we keep talking about it, I will sound like I am demanding a favor. I frantically rack my brain, trying to change the subject. Honestly, my passion for romance got completely drained by Lu Nuyen. My flirting skills are basically zero right now, and panic is totally setting in. Suddenly I noticed Tavan is not wearing any bracelets or jewelry at all, so I glance down at the gift I brought. Talk about perfect timing. I clear my throat and tell her I brought a little something for our first official meeting, and it just happens to be a bracelet. Let me put it on for you. Tavan gets this pretty blush on her cheeks, catching my drift as she gives a shy nod. I carefully slip it onto her wrist, nodding in pure appreciation. Honestly, when someone is this gorgeous, absolutely anything looks amazing on them. Plus, it goes perfectly with your outfit today. Tavan actually lets out a sweet little laugh at my completely clumsy attempt at flirting. She asks if I always talk to girls like this. My face goes completely stiff, totally freezing up. Then she smiles and says she doesn't object to our arranged marriage. So maybe we should try dating. I just sit there stunned. Did my luck really just change this fast? But before I can even get a word of agreement out, Lu Nuyen ruins the moment, her loud voice cutting right through the air. She screams at Luke Min Do, furious that he is already hooking up with another woman right after their breakup, calling me absolute scum. She yells so incredibly loud that every single person inside this banquet hall hears it clearly. Seriously, you have got to be kidding me with this girl. Now everyone is staring at us, and Lu Nuyen is basically begging to be destroyed. I quickly reassure Tavan, who looks a bit upset by the scene, giving her a gentle signal that I completely accept her dating offer. Then I shoot a furious glare right back at Lu Nuyen. I tell her we are already completely done, so whatever I do is strictly none of her business. I go into full attack mode, not leaving her a single ounce of dignity. How does she even have the nerve to judge me right now? Back when we were still together, she and Tran Tu Fong were practically glued to each other, acting all shady and inappropriate behind my back. And today, she actually dares to bring her little affair partner to a public party? I tell her the only reason I did not ruin her life immediately was out of pure respect for her parents. Does she seriously think the entire world revolves around her? Before Lu Nuyen can even think of a comeback, I keep pushing forward. I remind her that I genuinely loved her once, but the absolute second she chose to betray me, we became total strangers. I give her one final warning: step off, or I will personally make sure she loses her reputation, her money, and absolutely everything else. Lu Nuyen chokes on her words, her face turning bright red. She cannot say a single thing, just biting her lip hard with this totally murderous look in her eyes. This whole outburst leaves the entire hall in absolute shock. It is the very first time any of them have seen me drop my manners and go totally ruthless. I used to be the humble guy who kept the peace to keep business smooth. Today, I'm acting like a completely different person. Catching my breath, I actually feel a tiny bit of regret for losing my cool like that. But then I see Tavan staring at me with this massive look of admiration, and suddenly I know I did the right thing. Then the scumbag speaks up, telling me I am taking things way too far. Tran Tu Fong steps in, trying to play the heroic protector. He says even if he and Lu Nuyen made a mistake, I have absolutely no right to insult or threaten her like this. My eyes go ice cold, and a dark chuckle escapes me. I ask Tran Tu Fong why he is jumping into the crossfire so eagerly. Fine, he really wants a public execution? I will happily grant this cheating couple their twisted wish right now. No need to wait until tomorrow. I am completely clearing out this absolute trash today. Everything is set. Watch closely now, while the whole crowd watches in wild curiosity. I project Tran Tu Fong's entire secret file right onto the massive screen. Not even 30 seconds later, the entire room loudly gasps in horror. Everyone instantly steps back, putting serious distance between themselves and those two cheaters. Tran Tu Fong starts violently shaking, heavy sweat pouring down his pale forehead. He does not even react to his own injuries anymore, just staring completely dead-eyed at the damning evidence on screen. And Lu Nuyen, she is so terrified her legs just give out. She collapses to the floor, her face totally pale, eyes locked in absolute, hopeless horror. It turns out Tran Tu Fong got totally blinded by the flashy lifestyle during his years abroad, leading an incredibly messy and chaotic private life. Play with fire, and you get burned. The files prove he caught a severe infectious disease, but honestly, that is not even the worst part. I loudly point out that his colorful history goes way beyond his dating life. The relatives who paid for his fancy trips abroad, he showed them zero gratitude, actually wanting to steal even more from them. Pressured by his shady friends, this absolute scumbag decided to plot something unforgivable. He wanted to swallow his aunt and foreign uncle's entire fortune. So, he literally orchestrated a fake accident to take out his own little cousin. But karma is incredibly real. Because of his twisted behavior, his aunt was already highly suspicious and saw right through his sick little plan early on. Knowing how hard her older brother worked as a single dad, she chose not to call the cops. Instead, she used the hard evidence to force Tran Te-Fong back home, and their families completely cut ties forever. Tran Te-Fong's father had worked himself to the bone in his youth, dealing with all sorts of illnesses. Provoked by this completely ungrateful son, he had a massive stroke and was gone. But Tran Te-Fong felt absolutely no remorse. He was already too used to a lavish, wild lifestyle, so he locked his sights on Li Yunhyn to keep living the high life, planning to grab a huge fortune along the way. On the surface, he acted completely devoted to Li Yunhyn. In reality, he was totally rotten inside. He even abused the high position Li Yunhyn gave him to secretly steal the absolute core formula of her entire company. He didn't just sell the recipe to foreign businesses. He actually set up his own little sweatshop, making fake goods to rake in pure profit. Now, Tran Te-Fong is completely losing his mind. He keeps muttering over and over that it is impossible. He kept everything incredibly hidden. Totally impossible. As for Li Yunhyn, I checked the time and figured the moment was pretty much here. Just a few seconds later, her phone starts ringing, snapping the dazed crowd right back to reality. Hello, Li Yunhyn still hasn't fully recovered, answering the call weakly. But then, she suddenly lets out a terrified scream. What are you saying? The bank is starting a forced debt collection, claiming my company no longer has the ability to handle any more financial risks. I hired you people to solve problems, and you are seriously asking me what to do? You absolute useless trash. She has fully turned into a total clown. Everyone just coldly watches this pathetic display of helpless, raging anger unfold right in front of them. This is the real Li Yunhyn, a person who only knows how to brag about her own achievements while completely ignoring the sacrifices everyone else makes. On top of that, the second something actually goes wrong, all she does is point fingers and curse at people. Thinking about it now, it really is completely blind. It took until this very moment for me to finally see her true ugly face with absolute clarity. But hold on, it gets even crazier. With nowhere to vent her anger, Li Yunhyn locks her furious gaze right onto a completely stunned Tran Te-Fong. She raises her hand and slaps her so-called soulmate right across the face. You useless trash. Freeloading was bad enough, but you gave me a filthy disease. Still not satisfied, she goes in for another swing. But Tran Te-Fong snaps out of his daze and fiercely grabs her wrist in midair. His grip is so insanely strong that Li Yunhyn actually lets out a painful cry. Calling me useless, huh? Tran Te-Fong rubs his freshly slapped cheek, flashing this incredibly sick, twisted smile. Isn't that just because you were totally stupid? You gave up being the dignified young madam of the LC family. I just crooked a finger, and you willingly jumped into my bed, even on your own wedding night. Now, you are reaping what you sowed, and you want to take your anger out on me? Do you still think you are the almighty CEO Li Yu? Right now, you are just a pathetic woman that absolutely everyone spits on. Anyway, I am completely bored of playing with you. The money I made is plenty to live on, so you can clean up this giant mess all by yourself. At this point, Tran Te-Fong is fully committed to the plunge, spitting out the absolute ugliest words imaginable. Hit right in her deepest wound by the man she loved, Li Yunhyn spaces out, and Tran Te-Fong brutally shoves her hard to the ground. Min Du, that is enough. TVN softly whispers from right beside me, trying to calm things down. Achieving our main goal is perfectly fine. Pushing this way too far might end up bringing you bad luck. I nod in agreement. This is not my home turf anyway, so knowing when to stop is smart. Watching Li Yunhyn and Tran Te-Fong fiercely lunging at each other, I call the manager over. The one guy neither side dares to offend. I instruct him to call security and completely restrain them both. We absolutely cannot let Tran Te-Fong run away. He needs to go in there and sit in a prison cell for several long years. Just do some good hard labor. That exact prescription he sold overseas is a priceless treasure of traditional medicine. Doing something like that is practically treason, so he will definitely have to taste true suffering soon. Right as security firmly pins Tran Te-Fong down, my lawyer and the local authorities finally arrive straight at the chaotic scene. I gotta say, this lawyer is totally worth the crazy premium price I paid him. Incredible efficiency. working so incredibly fast. It is no wonder he dares to charge outrageous fees. Earning this money is totally well-deserved. A stern-faced police officer steps up, radiating pure authority without even needing to show anger, and shoves an official arrest warrant right in his face. Turn T. Fong, you are officially being charged with multiple serious crimes. This includes secretly selling a national heritage medical prescription, stealing the company's private trade secrets, deliberately making fakes, and selling those counterfeit goods, along with many other crimes. Right now, we invite you to take a trip with us. Turn T. Fong immediately jumps up, resisting wildly. No, I didn't do it. You people are framing me. Facing his stubborn refusal to admit guilt, the cops show absolutely no mercy. With just a few basic moves, they lock his arms tight and drag him away. My lawyer shoots me a quick signal, then turns around to follow them, because he has to step in for me and cooperate with the in-depth investigation. Min Do, I was wrong. I was just tricked too. Seeing Turn T. Fong get completely arrested and her company facing total, absolute bankruptcy, Lee Yunhyn snaps. She crawls right to my feet in pure panic, desperately gripping my pant leg for dear life and sobbing. You ruined your own life, so deal with it yourself. I throw a heavy kick, knocking her back, and immediately signaled the security guards to throw this pathetic woman out. Bother me one more time, and I'm calling the cops. The guards take the order. With swift moves, they drag a loudly wailing Lee Yunhyn far away from here. I just look over at those shattered glasses sitting nearby, waiting until something is completely broken before finally remembering to fix it. Does it even have any meaning left? This whole circus closes right along with it. Absolutely no need to worry about the aftermath now. One side is liquidating for bankruptcy, the other side is getting convicted. Everything is already set in stone. As for Lee Yu's parents though, I plan to settle them into a premium senior home. But first, I am paying for them to go on a completely relaxing vacation. Lee Yunhyn was always too busy with work these past few years, barely caring for her parents. I consider this my way of making it up to them. A whole month flashes by in the blink of an eye. TVN and I click incredibly well, not just helping each other out at work, but our daily hobbies match up perfectly too. So naturally, we moved in together, just living a normal, everyday life. Going to work by day and cozying up together at night. The wedding is scheduled for next month. I actually hired an expert to pick out a really beautiful lucky date for us. As for Lee Yunhyn, exactly as expected, she officially went completely bankrupt. I didn't kick her while she was down and force her into massive debt. If that ended up dragging her parents down, it wouldn't be good at all. Plus, catching that infectious disease got her kicked entirely out of the house. Now, she lives in some filthy, dark basement, surviving day by day just by scavenging through the trash. And of course, she somehow still has to scrape pennies together just for her ongoing treatments. You almost feel bad, but all of this is honestly more than enough punishment for her. It is way more miserable than I ever predicted. And her supposed true love, Turn T. Fong, is already gone. He wasn't officially sentenced, but got beaten until he lost his life. Back in the prison, the guards actually considered his illness and specifically put him in a private, solitary cell. But when he went out to the exercise yard, a clueless prison gang boss ended up setting his sights right on him. Once that boss caught the disease, he flew into an absolute rage and accidentally took Turn T. Fong out completely. What goes around truly comes around. The net of karma is vast, and nobody ever slips through it. 1 year later, a married life with TVN is just incredibly happy. Every single day passes by with the sweetness that makes everyone else entirely jealous. But human life always has good and bad things walking side by side. That exact day, I got the news that Lee Yunhyn had passed away. The long torment of her illness made the pain so unbearable she gave up. Last night, she ended things entirely, and even left behind a letter addressed to me. I just directly told them to take that letter and burn it. It has been so long, who even cares about the rotten person who once caused them so much pain? Even her own parents only came just to claim her remains. I helped handle all the final arrangements quite neatly, because under my careful planning, they had long forgotten they ever even had a daughter like that in the first place. Once everything was completely finished, they just continued their relaxing trip around the world. I heard Lee Yu's parents even adopted a little girl. I have actually met that kid before. Very well behaved and so understanding. Yet another year goes by, and TVN and I welcome our first child. I already thought up names for the baby. If it is a boy, LCVT. If a girl, her name is LCVNT. Even though my parents and my TVN both say these names are pretty cheesy, I feel they perfectly represent our very deep connection to each other. Right now, parents and I actively treat TVN as our top protection target every single day, terrified she might bump into something here or there. This completely makes her both laugh and cry, constantly saying it is never that serious. But that pure, happy smile blooming on her lips makes me realize absolutely everything is worth it. I am no coward who blames the world and gives up on the future just from stumbling once. Honestly, getting hurt is not the scary part. What is truly terrifying is refusing to accept reality and move forward. Human life is short. Who knows exactly what is going to happen tomorrow? Maybe the future will be much harder, but who can genuinely say it will not be sweet? Just take all those obstacles you have faced as nourishment to grow, and never, ever stop pushing yourself relentlessly forward. Heaven will truly never mistreat anyone who tries hard to live well and always keeps looking toward the bright sun.